The bunch X nasty in the Jaguars offensive playbook is really effective. It's a great formation to base out of. There's a lot of really cool things and features that it has. It's probably the clear cut top tier formation in Madden 26. And we're going to be breaking down how to run it out of the Jaguars playbook here. Now, one of the things that you want to do is when you're running this formation, there is a specific package that I'm going to recommend, and it is called the tight end slot package. This tight end slot package is going to really be helpful for playing really any kind of nickel based man coverage. And what you're going to do is you're going to basically sub out that tight end and sub in a receiver, like basically whatever receiver that you want. You can sub him in right into that position. And then as far as audibles go for the Bunch X Nasty formation, I think the audibles that make the most sense are having the motion plays at your disposal. So the plays that I personally really like to have is the motion cross post, this motion RPO zone alert. Then I also really like to have this motion Y corner under. And then for this last play, there's a lot of different options that you could put in this last play call slot. Smash return is a really good one, just because it's a good everything beater. This play Y flat goal line is really cool because it has a really unique corner route we're going to get into. But also you have spacing switch, and there's a lot of things you can do out of spacing switch as well. If you want another run play, I could see that. This play here, where was that? At motion HB choice has a really unique seam streak that is really good situationally. But if I'm, kind of put my money on a play, I think ultimately the play that makes the most sense is probably going to be that spacing switch. So we're going to put that in that little slot there. And then we'll come out in really whatever play that we want. We could come out in another formation and audible into this. However we want to run the offense. Generally, when I run this offense, though, what I like to do is come out in a play in Bunch X Nasty because of what I'm going to show you out of the tight end slot package, and then audible around from there. Now, the other big thing with this formation is the Y flat goal line play. We'll come out and show what makes this play super special. Another big thing as far as like how to run this offense as a whole is to utilize flipping and audibling within your scheme. So for example, what I'm generally going to be doing is coming out with my bunch to the short side. So what that means is if the ball is on the right hash mark, then I'm going to come out with my bunch to the right hash mark. So as you see here, I'm going to come out with my bunch basically normal. However, if the ball is over here on the left side, then what I would want to do is I would want to actually come out with my bunch flipped. So as you see now, my bunch is to the left. I'm just going to hit the right trigger to flip the play, and that is going to flip the formation. This is going to make your formation a ton more versatile. And then the other thing that we're able to do is we do have some short side combos and short side plays, but we could audible to other formations. For example, one of the best audibles here would be to audible over to some of our bunch tight end stuff. And we'll be breaking down this formation in the future as well. But, we have this bunch tight end we can go to. Generally speaking, you want your bunch to be, or your bunch or trips to be to the wide side of the field. So as you see, when we audible to bunch tight end, or if we audible to trips tight end, it's going to put those trips receivers to the wide side of the field. Now I'm going to reset the play here, and we're going to go back to what we were basically showing first. The other really cool thing about this is when you audible or you flip your play, you're going to get faster hot routes. So what I like to do here is come out, short side bunch, and then flip into wide side bunch just like this. And then let's say, for example, that I wanted to audible to another formation once I flip into wide side. I personally think that's personally fine because you can audible twice at the line of scrimmage. So if you wanted to, you could come audible or flip into wide side bunch and then audible into the wild trail close stuff that we're going to be talking about. This is going to mess up with their alignment. It's going to mess up their adjustments. It's also going to give you hot route, better hot route animations. So it's just a good way to play the game. At least the best, most optimized way to play the game right now. Offensively, it makes offense a little bit easier. That being said, for the remainder of the video, I'm not going to be coming out short side flipping every time. I'm just going to come out in the hash mark that I want to be on and show you the combos. But that being said, you can certainly and should certainly be doing that in game because it's just going to make it that much more of a pain to stop you. All right. Now, as far as these plays go, like I said, I love Bunch X Nasty in this game. I think it's a top level offense, and we're going to first talk about what makes it so good. I was talking a little bit about the tight end slot package. So, as you see here, if I was to play like a cover zero blitz, it is going to misalign this outside guy, and it's because of this tight end slot package. So what you're able to do is you're able to get this guy unbumpable, and this Y flat goal line is got basically like a speed corner to the outside. Now I'll show you a little bit better of a combo there with that. But basically, what we want to do is we want to take advantage of the fact that we have this misalignment. So we can do all kinds of stuff, but in general, right? Real simple setup, something like this, right? Real simple. But what you're going to see is that speed corner does a really good job of being able to beat man coverage consistently, really regardless of what they're doing with their man coverage and their shading. Another thing here, though, is if they were to run like a cover zero, so like, or not a cover zero, cover two man or something like that, as you see, he actually lines up properly. So this is a little bit of a tell, and it gives us some information as far as what they're doing in terms of, are they running cover two man? Are they running a cover zero based defense? That's going to be kind of shown in how they align. Now, another great way to attack man coverage from this formation is to use this play motion cross post. What you want to do here is you just want to stem this tight end post all the way down. You want to streak this ISO receiver on the left side and basically just snap this ball. And what you're going to notice here is that this running back slide route is really good. And then also this crosser is really good for attacking man-to-man coverage consistently in this game. Now, another big thing as far as this offense goes is this motion Y corner under. Another really great way to attack your opponent if they're playing man-to-man, if they're in mid blitz, if they're, a lot of people in this game love to be in, basically cover zero out of nickel formations. This is really good for that. What you want to do here is you're going to stem this tight end corner all the way down. You're going to streak or slot fade this slot receiver here. And then on the back end of this, I like to do a simple drag route and a table, or a drag route and a swing route, up to you. But basically what you're going to have here is a high-low read to the right side. And what happens a lot of times, as we get a really bad inaccurate from Josh Allen, what happens a lot of times is that tight end will actually beat man coverage. I'll show it a little bit better here. Another thing that happens in this year's game is a lot of people like to route commit their man, especially if they're playing cover zero. They like to route commit that man coverage to the inside. That's just kind of a tendency thing that a lot of people like to do. That's why this play is so good, because this tight end is going to win to the outside. So again, here's the combo. And you're going to see here that this tight end normally will get kind of like almost like a speed burst. You could throw this, get a rat catch, and typically be in a decent position to be able to attack the man coverage. Every now and then, as you saw right there, like, they'll guard it. But generally speaking, it's a pretty decent and consistent read. The other thing with this is, depending on how much cover zero you're actually facing, there's some other setups that I like out of this play. I'll show you the other reads as well. The slot fade can actually be a throw that you would make. You could also, if you want to, put the tight end on a tight end apprentice corner. It's a little sharper. It might be a little better in certain cases. So you have that kind of corner, but you also have that drag route coming underneath, and that drag route is just a consistent route. I think you should pretty much have a drag route on almost every single play that you run in this game. Those routes are so effective in this year's game. Now, another thing, if you're playing any kind of cover zero man-to-man coverage, is stemming down a post route. So if I'm in this play motion Y corner under, I can stem this post route down pretty much all the way, make it run super quick. And then I can still stem that tight end down like this. What I like to do, if I'm going to do that, is I'm going to take this slot receiver and I'm going to put him on a speed out, stem him all the way down. So you see pretty quick routes that are going to be basically available. I might even put the running back on a wheel, a flat, a wheel, or an in route. All kinds of different things you could do with the running back here. But basically you'll see here that this little speed out does a great job because of the misalignment of the man-to-man coverage that you get from that tight end slot package. It just does a really good job of being able to attack man. The other thing that does a really good job of being able to attack man, and the reason that I like to have this running back at least on this block and release route, if you don't want to send him on a route, put him on a block and release route and ID like whoever you're worried about from a pressure perspective. But normally in this year's game, there's not a lot of great blitzes. There's not really a lot of great blitzes in general. So that being said, I don't want to block the running back. I want to leave him on a block and release. What's going to happen is that then because I do that, the safety is still going to have to guard the running back, and so it's going to leave this post one on one. And if he wins to the inside, it's going to be it's just going to be an easy, big hitting play against that man to man coverage, which obviously significantly helps. So not only do we have a couple of different methods by which we would beat man, but this would basically lead them to a coverage that looks something like this right here. The user in the middle of the field, the two hard flats to be able to defend those crossing routes. And that's where I really like this Y flat goal line play because that flat zone is coming from the linebacker. You're typically going to be in a position where you could even run just a combo like this, for example, and you're going to do a really good job. You see that speed corner just cooks that man coverage. And I basically use that route as a pull route for zone. So I like to use a whip. I like to use a tight end drag. And then if I want to put the running back on a swing route, I can do that as well. But what you're going to see is against cover four, you're going to have all these little pockets underneath to be able to attack. The other thing that you could do is drag the slot receiver and whip route the tight end like this. And you'll see that that tight end gets in a soft spot against most of the coverages in this game. Now, the best way to defend this speed corner is in a cover four or cover three. Cover two is not going to do a great job of defeating the speed corner here, which I'll show that. But as you can see, it does a really good job of being defended in a cover three or cover four. Now, if they were to go to a cover two, where they're using the cloud flat, this is one of the most popular ways that people like to defend bunch in this game is they're going to basically do what I call a roll coverage, where they're having a roll coverage over the top of the bunch receiver. That means they're cover two in the bunch side and they're cover three in the solo side. Well, if we go back to the same exact combination here, you're going to see that this speed corner actually beats cover two to the sideline quick, and you're able to take advantage of that little throwing lane, which is very, very difficult for them to defend. They have a hard time defending that with a cloud flat. And then if they were to, let's say, hard flat out of a cover two, that's going to do a little bit better, but obviously that's going to leave them very vulnerable in other situations. As you'll see right here, we can just throw this post over the middle of the field, but that will leave them vulnerable to a combo like this, where we might go with a stem down corner to the slot receiver, a streak to the tight end, and then what I like is a backside return route or something like that over the middle. The reason I like this is because against cover two, if they play that hard flat coverage, then you're going to see here that that stem down corner is going to do a really good job of being able to beat it. The other thing that you have here is if they are going to run that stem down or shaded underneath cover two, a lot of times that's going to be paired with, like I said, a cover three on this side, and these yellows will be a little bit lower in the middle. The user will be more down in the middle, playing maybe this quick post or something like that. And so then that allows for this combination right here to be really good, because if you just hit this tight end seam before he gets to that deep third, he's going to do a really good job of getting separation against that defender. So that's another way in which we can attack the cover two to that side. One of the other big things that I wanted to show you against cover two, I was talking a little bit about how I like to flip every single time. A really good short side combination here is to actually use this speed corner. You're going to do a slot fade, a streak, and then a backside. You could do whatever. You could do a drag and a post, like something like this. But what makes this good is in the short side of the field. It's not going to work to the wide side, but to the short side, if they play you in a cover two, what you're going to get here is you are going to totally hit the wrong button, but you're going to hit this slot fade. I'll show that one more time. Make sure you hit the slot fade here. So again, if I, streak the tight end, slot fade the slot receiver, don't really care what you do on the right side, but what you'll see here is that deep half will turn his hips to the inside, and it will hit that slot fade in a really, really nice window to be able to attack the defense. If you've gotten value from this video, if you've been enjoying this little breakdown, I do want to encourage you to check out our school community. It's only $10. It gets you access to everything for Madden and for college football. If you guys want to get any of my full offensive or defensive ebooks, I guarantee you, you're going to get better by being a member. I basically literally put every single thing that I know into this community, whether it's through ebooks, mini schemes, pro tips, breakdowns, everything you need to know to win more games. So if you want to sign up, that link is in the description down below. The next thing that I wanted to go over here, as far as offense, is another type of coverage you will see, which is cover two to this left-hand side. You don't see this one as much anymore, but you will see it some because curl flats are so good. You'll see like a coverage that looks like this right here. And one of the best ways to attack this specific coverage is to go to that motion cross post play. We're going to run a streak to the ISO receiver. We're going to run a table route to the running back. And then what I like to do here on the back end of this is I like to run the tight end on a return route. And I like to run the slot receiver on like a crosser or a post and stem that post down one time. Either of those routes are going to be effective for you. But what you're going to basically look for here is against cover two, this motion receiver is going to do a really good job of basically getting over the top of the cloud and also remaining open because we're running this to the short side. We want to be running this from the wide side to the short side in the sense of the auto motion. Let me actually see if we can get a little better throw from Josh Allen. Josh Allen is actually crazy inaccurate for me. But let's go ahead and take a look here. So again, I'll the crosser this time. But what you basically see here is this cloud. I forgot to put the table route there. The table route's really helpful. I'll explain why in a minute. Okay, Josh Allen, we're gonna need you. We're gonna need you to make some throws, buddy. We're gonna need you to make some throws. The reason that the table route is really valuable is in case they soft squat. So if they do soft squat, a soft squat has matching principles within it, and so that soft squat will actually match vertical this seam or this cheat wheel. And so because the soft squat's going to match him if we don't put a table route, that's why I like to put the table route there, because the soft squat will basically play like almost like a hard flat. You're going to see he's going to go with him for a little bit, but he's going to stay down on that table route, and it leaves this throw wide open for a big play against cover two. So it's one of the easiest ways to be able to pop cover two consistently in this game. And then obviously a hard flat, it would be very easy to pop it. And then the cloud flat, let's hope we can actually make the throw here. But basically, and there's a couple different ways. You could run the play like this as well very easily if you wanted to. I really like the return route of the stem down post. I just think it's a little better spacing. But what you'll see here on the cloud is once he clears the cloud, we're going to throw it. We're going to actually complete it this time. And you see how good of a route that is. So we're able to beat cover two consistently to the left side, but we're also able to beat cover three. I'm going to show you a really cool way to beat cover three in this game. Again, we were talking a little bit about the idea of like cover two and the idea that they might run a coverage like this. And again, this coverage can look a lot of different ways, but one of the things you're going to consistently see is you're going to see these two yellows and potentially like a hook or double flat, or they're going to send four. A lot of people like to send four in this game. But this is generally speaking like a pretty basic, roll coverage that you're going to see a lot. So how do we attack it? I think the easiest way to attack it is from this motion cross post play. We're going to streak this solo wide receiver. We're going to drag route the tight end. We're going to put this slot receiver on an in route, and we're going to stem him up 3 times. So you see a relatively deeper in route like this. You don't have to stem it all the way up. I mean, you can go about that depth right there. I like to leave this running back route. I just think it's a really good route. It's good against man coverage. It's hard to cover. It's hard to user it. So I really like this route, but we'll just show you what this play looks like. Basically, what you're going to see here is that this middle third will essentially not guard this guy all the way back. Now, it's going to take a little bit of a thing to get used to it. I'll show you another big thing with this that I do think is actually really relevant. And you can also get the same thing if you use the post. So remember how we were using the post before? If we wanted to, we don't need the drag. Like we could literally run the exact same thing. So if we just run the post and run it like this, like you're going to get pretty much the same behavior with a post that you're going to get with that stemmed up in route. But basically the middle third will essentially guard the in route. And then late on this play, as you see, he goes to the right side, it'll leave this open. And like I said, it might take us a couple times to actually get the actual clip. This is a little bit more likely, by the way, if this safety's down here. So if this safety's lower, this is a little bit more consistent. And a lot of people like to have their safeties lower because they think that that helps them with seam streaks and things like that. So, that's just something that you need to know. But anyways, if you see these safeties down like this is a great play to go to because they can't really run cover two against it. And it's honestly going to be pretty hard for them to run cover three as well. You stem the post down one. Basically, you see this combo against cover three. Obviously, if that's not there for you, you can throw this. It's actually playing it surprisingly well. So I'm going to go back to that in route one more time just so you can kind of see what's going on here. Normally that guy will freeze a little bit more, or he'll like go to the post a little bit more. But again, I'm going to bring him down to about those 8-yard depth where you would have him if you had your safety depth on close and pinch. But anywho, let me actually use the stemmed up in route this time. You see, it looks like that. Obviously, we could easily just hit the post, but I do want to show you that this has one play touchdown potential. There you see he goes to the in route in the middle of the field, and then this becomes a massive play for you to be able to use to pop cover three consistently. And it's really either kind of cover three. For example, let's say they played, let's say they play like cover three to the left side. So they run it like this, for example. You're still going to get that same basic behavior. A lot of people don't run this type of cover three, but if they do, this is something that you'll be able to hit. And let me show you. Let me move these safeties down a little bit. Now, if they have those safeties more off the ball, that's going to be another problem for them, and I'll cover that in just a minute. But what you're going to see here is that this seam streak is just wide open. And you see, it's just an easy way to pop cover three consistently. So what this does is it puts them in a position where they have to basically run cover four or they have to run cover two. Okay. Now, if they're running cover four, what a lot of people do is they will run cover four hard flat. So it would look like this. And this play is going to do a really good job against cover four hard flat. The reason being is because this tight end post gets a really unique depth right here. And this cheat motion is going to be something really helpful for you as well. So what you'll see with the cheat motion is you can actually throw this to the sideline if they don't switch stick over there. That quarter is going to really bail back. And so because that quarter bails back so much, you're able to just pop that over and over and over again. Now, one of the best ways they can counter that is they could play a curl flat. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like. I feel like curl flats are significantly better in this game than they were last year. And so what you're going to see here is that the curl flat will actually go to that route, but it leaves this wide open underneath for us to be able to hit those check down reads. Another really underrated combo, in my opinion. We were talking about these safeties being an issue, right? If they're deeper, it's going to do a better job against the bombs. So what that means, though, is that these yellow zones are going to be responsible for the seam streaks. And so if the yellow zones are responsible for the seam streaks, and we were going to this motion cross post play, we could run a combination like this right here. And what makes this combination really good is these underneath zones are not going to play underneath. And so these little underneath little pockets can get hit easily with this underneath because the yellow zones are going to drift back to guard the seam streaks, right? Now, what we can do to kind of build off of that is we could go to an alternate setup that I love out of this. This is kind of like something that I think Skimbo made popular last year, but is really, really good. And that is when they start to put their yellows on 5, they start to come down in the box, they start to play underneath, you can go to a setup like this. It's motion cross post. We're going to streak both receivers. So the slot and the solo are going to get streaked. Then the tight end is going to be on a basic in route like this. If you want to do a return route, you can. But I think a basic in route like this. And then if you want to put the running back on a table, you could do it like this right here. And the reason that this is such a good combination is you're going to see that the yellow zones are going to come right down the middle. And so it allows me to throw these streaks in the seam area of the field really consistently off of this combination. So it's a great little play that you can have that kind of really blends together well in the overarching elements of the scheme itself. Another good play, in my opinion, that does a good job is, remember we were talking about if you want to run the short corner, one of the best ways to stop the short corner is to use a curl flat. You'll see like right here, like that curl flat did a pretty good job. Wasn't able to fully stop it, but did a pretty good job. If they run a hard flat over here, let me show you that real quick. You'll see hard flat, to a degree, we're doing all right. That hard flat can play it, but anyways, one of the best ways to kind of start to impact that right sideline is to use motion cross post as well, but to use it in a little bit of a different way. So the main purpose of calling motion cross post for this next setup is really for the running back slide route on that Cook is on right here. So what I like to do with this one, a couple different ways that you can kind of run the play, by the way. But the first way that I like to run this play is we're just going to take the slot receiver and we're going to put him on a slot fade. We're going to put this corner route here and stem him down one time. So it's not all the way down, but it's one time. And then what we're going to do with the tight end is we're going to put him on a streak, and then we're going to have a backside return. So it looks like this. And essentially what we're doing here is we're really flooding the right side of the field. And basically we have a high-low read between the slot fade and this deep corner. As you see, that deep corner is going to do a really good job of getting open, especially when you pair it with a slot fade. But the big thing is if they're using a curl flat or a seam flat or they're zone dropping or anything like that, they have to be aware that they are basically giving up the flat to the running back slide route, which is a very easy throw to make. And you'll see right here, you see how that curl flat just drops back. We're just going to throw it right there, turn up field, and you see that I'm able to get 10, 15 yards on just a basic flat route. Then what they're going to do is they're going to say, okay, well, we don't want to give that up, so we're going to throw hard flats over there on the right side. Well, what that's going to then lead to is that's going to lead to a much, much more open deep corner route. So you see here that this deep corner route is significantly more open than he was before. And so then you kind of get into this situation, right, where if they're going to be playing you in cover four, they're not going to really be able to guard this corner route. And then the bigger thing here is that this corner route is going to do a good job of forcing some type of switch stick. And so if they start to try to switch stick the corner route, then what you're going to be able to do here is your slot fade on the outside here. It's going to do a really good job being able to get over the top of any kind of cover four that was switch sticked on. So you always want to be, kind of having that route there because that's going to do a really good job if they switch stick onto the deep outside quarter in a cover four. And then the other element of this is, let's say that they run cover two. So let's say they run like a cover two coverage like this. Remember, we talked about how this middle third is really not going to be an effective zone. And so now you've got them putting an outside or an inside quarter there because the other zone was giving up touchdowns. And so because of that, then you're going to have this tight end streak right up the middle. And you see how wide open this gets. And you could sometimes even split the safeties and put yourself in a position to get a touchdown on that. So as you can see, we're giving ourselves multiple ways to be able to attack the defense and counters to their counters as we're kind of putting this all together. So I think this is a really, really effective play and something that you should be utilizing. This running back slide route, you'd just be amazed at how consistent the running back slide route is in this year's game. And then now they have to do all kinds of stuff, right? Another really good combination that I would want to see, pretty much anybody that runs this formation, I would want to see you running this, would be something like this right here out of motion cross post, a little bit of a different setup. It's going to be a streak, a post, and you're still going to use a corner. You're going to now stem this corner all the way down, so it's a little lower, and then you're going to use a return route. The reason I like this setup is because this is going to be a little worse against cover four drop, but it's going to be better against cover two. It's going to be better against pretty much everything else that they could do. It's also going to be better against switch stick. The reason why is because you're going to have that running back slide route, which we talked about. That route is just a money route this year. It's super hard to guard. It gets underneath everything. And so they have to hard flat, they have to shade down. And so because they have to hard flat and shade down, that's what really makes this play, I think, go. It makes this play really, really good because what you're going to see here is your corner route on the outside is going to do a good job. You can kind of pass that down on the way. And a lot of times you can throw that at a quarter. Now, if they switch stick it, you can't throw that. One other thing I want to show you real quick is that corner route also will beat cover two. So if they run cover two here, let me go back to motion cross post. So if they run cover two here, you're going to see that this corner route, and you have this slide route in case they soft squat or anything like that. But you see he gets over the top of him. And the streak is going to push all the deep zones back, right? So you're able to pop cover two, you're able to pop cover four, cover three. The only thing they can realistically do is switch stick. They can switch stick to the defender, right? That's really the only option that they have. And so because that's the only option that they realistically have is to switch stick to the corner route, we put them in a position where now they have to choose. And if they choose the corner route, then you're going to come backside here and you're going to hit that tight end in that little window right there. Another way that you could kind of run the same basic idea here is to put the tight end on a deep in route, basically like a stemmed up in route. So stem him up like several times, like super deep in route like that. And then what you would be able to do here is you'll see, watch this in route, watch him just cut right in that soft spot of the yellow zones. So then the other piece of this is, let's say they don't want to shade and they just switch stick to the right side. If they don't want to shade and they just switch stick to the right side, then what's going to happen is these yellow zones will drift back because you've got those pull routes, and then your little return route underneath gets into a nice soft spot of the defense. So this is an absolute money play, a play that you need to be using in this offense, because this play will get you just consistent separation against different things that they want to be able to do. Another play that I really like out of motion cross post that I forgot to talk about is this one right here. We're going to use that tight end corner route. We're going to use a slot fade, a drag, and a running back streak. And the reason I like this setup is because we're pushing them to have to put a ton of emphasis over here on the left-hand side. They're going to have to get over here, user things and things like that. And so because of that, what typically will happen is this little running back streak is just a great little like painful route for them to have to worry about having to defend. And that cheat motion does such a good job of pulling the flat defender, pulling the deep defenders, pulls all of these defenders to him, that it's really difficult for them to consistently stop. And then the other element of this is you're using a slightly different corner route, this corner route to the tight end. The one thing I would say about this corner route to the tight end is feel free to stem him up one. If you stem the tight end corner up a little bit, it'll be a little bit better for you, in my opinion, in terms of being able to attack more coverages. So you'll just stem him up one. You have the slot fade here, and you'll see that he gets a lot more bend on his route. He gets a lot more depth. And you'll see here, if we don't get script, we got yelled at right there. Shout out to the Sin 3. Let me actually just contain these defensive ends. I've been doing that, but basically you'll see here, if I can actually run the play, that, this kind of a combination just going to be really good, because you see that slot fade clears out everything. You get that nice depth from that tight end, and it runs a super deep corner to the sideline. Really, really effective route that you have within this play. Other plays as far as motion cross post go that I would say is, if you want to run this crossing route, I do think it's actually not a bad route. It kind of gets into a unique position of the field. What I would recommend if you want to do this crossing route would actually be to go ahead and run like a smash return setup like this. The reason I like it is it's just a very unique crossing route, and you have this slide route that gets into a really nice pocket of the field. So again, you just have a high-low over the middle of the field here, and you're going to see, right, that this little return route gets into a soft spot. Very difficult to be able to defend that. And then when they come down and they shade underneath and they do all that kind of stuff to try to stop this, then you're going to be able to hit your crosser. And what's nice about this crosser is he's really good against man coverage. And I'll actually show that. I'm actually going to go to man coverage. We haven't talked a lot about man coverage as we kind of got into this. We talked a little bit about it in the beginning, but if they're playing you in man coverage, this is a great play to have, because the slide route you have to hard flat the slide routes. And so because you have to hard flat or have help for those routes, then you now put yourself in a position where, your drag, your return route, all those routes are basically, wide open. Another thing you can do with this play is, if you don't like the depth that route is getting to, you can put him on just a basic crossing route. So if I want to use an actual hot routed crosser, the crosser from the hot route master is going to do a really good job here. You'll see he kind of bends him really well. A lot of times that's going to be a free completion. We'll see if we can actually get it to work properly. But this is a really key route in this offense. Like the capability to be able to use, this slide route in conjunction with like a crosser or something as a high-low read. And then you see here, perfect, wide open. And then of course you have the chance to hit the streak too. If they're in cover zero, you take the top off the defense, with that streak route. So anyway, I think that's one of the other ways that I like to play man coverage. Another thing I want to go over about man coverage is this play. We haven't talked about it yet. Spacing switch. There's a lot of ways to use this play. But spacing switch is really good against man coverage because of the running back route. So what you're going to see here is this running back table route. He just wins. He literally just breaks defense. Like it's a different table route. You're going to see I'm going to do the exact same combination, but I'm going to put him on a hot routed table. And you're going to see that it's super slow. It's not as good, and he's not going to win. So you see here, like this table, right? Like he got, he caught the ball, but he got tackled after a yard. Whereas if they're in like a cover zero blitz and they have a safety manned up onto the running back, this is the freest like big play ever. You see, he gets that animation as long as he didn't drop the ball. This is a free, huge, huge play that you have in your arsenal. And then again, like what I would do, do whatever, but just something going to the middle of the field. You see, he gets off there, and a lot of times he'll actually break that tackle. That was a bad example. Let me see if I can get you a good one here. Let me just put this guy on the left on a streak like this, and you see, wait on the cut, get a nice little free form, and I don't know, maybe the defense is catching on to our schemes here, but against cover zero, this is just a really, really good route that you want to have and you want to throw. Like you see there, you get that little bump, and then boom, like you're just out of there. So it's a great route. There's a reason why people call so much spacing switch, because that table route is so good. So let's build around the table route. So what you want to do, if you want to build around the table route, what I like is just a basic return route like this. It's really good against man and zone coverage. If it's man coverage, you're looking for that table route, honestly. If it's zone, you're going to work this backside three-man combination here to the right side. Really good play. I call this a constraint play because it's not something you're going to run every single play, but when you do run it, it's going to be a tendency breaker. The other thing about this is you don't have to be on either hash for this. So like, let's say I want to be over here, the combination is still going to basically be the same. So you're going to see here that, we could be wide side with our table route, giving him more space to work. Like this is something that could work no matter what hash you're on. So anyways, I just really like the spacing switch flat route, and I like to build around it. The other thing about this is, let's say, because again, they're going to hard flat. So they hard flat. Look at this little return route. See how you can throw it before he gets to the yellow zone? It just makes for a really, really powerful route that you have in your offense. Another thing I like to do with spacing switch, as I said, is just kind of build around it a little bit. So one of the other things that I'll do from time to time is I'll do a streak to the ISO receiver. I'll do a drag. I'll do, basically kind of a high-low read like this, because that table route's so good, it pulls stuff out so well. And then you see here that you've got that nice high read. They have to kind of switch stick that, and because they have to switch stick that, that leaves that backside return route wide open, which I'll show that. So again, if we're running like something like this, they switch stick to the crosser, and then that leaves this backside check down wide open in a soft spot of the field. So that's one of the easy setups from spacing switch. Another one that I like is using a drag like this, and then on the right-hand side, basically, kind of like a cover two combination, essentially. And this will do really good against cover two, but you're just going to get this little pocket right there to be able to throw that drag, because that speed out does a good job of getting out there. Another great setup for spacing switch, in my opinion, is the tight end zig, the drag, and then the deep in route like this. I think this is a really good setup from spacing switch. You just have a lot of things happening quickly underneath they're going to have to worry about. And the big thing is when they start to consistently run this underneath coverage, what I'll do is I'll run that spacing switch play. But now we'll use like a stemmed up curl. So we'll do like a post, we'll do a streak, we'll do a curl, we'll stem it up once, and then we'll do a drag like this. So it looks a little wonky, but it's actually really good, especially because if they shade their yellows underneath, you see those yellows go super far down, we can just throw this curl right into a nice soft spot of the zone and be able to attack. Those curls also are really good at attacking man-to-man coverage as well. So those are just some different methods that I like to use from the play spacing switch. It's one of those plays that I think you really should have in your arsenal because it just does so many things. Another thing we forgot to talk about is motion RPO zone alert. This is one of my favorite plays in the game. And the reason why this is so good is I'm going to hard flat out of a cover four. And all we're going to do, and you can hot route on this play. So I'm going to hot route this guy to a streak. And then basically what you're going to see is this hard flat is not going to get out here to guard this. And this is going to be a free 15 yards. This is why I love this play because it's really difficult to defend this really in any kind of zone structure. It's really, really difficult. So, for example, remember I was talking about, being flipped here. So if we're in short side and we know we want to like throw this, why don't we just run it like this? Because now you'll see we give ourselves a lot more space for this player to get open. Just kind of a tendency breaker. They might be setting up their coverage or whatever. And then we have, a quick auto motion. Another thing about this that I, forgot to mention as well is we were talking about a little bit about the short side of the field. But let's say that we're running motion cross. It's the same auto motion as motion cross post. So let's say we're over here now. Well, we have a wide side, and now we can kind of run this play to the wide side if we wanted to as well. So, you can kind of intermingle these setups a little bit. Not necessarily, you'll see here, it just, again, if they're ever cover two in you, it's really good for cover two. But as you can see, the kind of chess match, because if you hard flat out of a cover four or cover three and you can't defend the route, then what that basically leaves you to have to do is it leaves you to have to essentially either play man coverage, which I'll show that as well. You either have to play man coverage or you have to play cover two, pretty much. And so here we're going to run man to man with hard flats. And you're going to see, again, I'm going to streak this guy, maybe drag like this backside guy like this. And my main read is this flat route. And you see how he, in the man coverage world, he'll do a pretty good job of guarding it. So they pretty much have to run man coverage against that, which, again, it's the same motion as the other plays, and the other plays are pretty good at beating man coverage. So that is, kind of what I'm seeing in terms of like why I think this play is so good is because of the fact that it can really do a good job of being able to just manipulate man and zone. The other thing I was going to say is you can actually hold on to this ball a little longer than you might think. And this throw right here, great throw, Josh Allen. Just throwing this like streak over the middle could be an option. Another thing you can do is you can run like a flat zig. So this will set up for a flat zig. So what I mean by that is one of the best ways to beat man is obviously to use zigs. And so what you could do is you could take this solo receiver, put him on a zig, and you'll be surprised. But if you're patient with this, you look at your flat not there, and then I'm trying to throw that zig, just quite couldn't get it off. But anyways, you just want to have some kind of man beater attached to it, tagged to it. I think the streaks can actually get crazy good. You might even be able to, let's see if we can actually throw this slot fade. The slot fade would be ideal to me. Let's see if we could throw that on that coverage. See if he'll give us enough time to throw this. But basically, it's just lobbing this up. It's not going to give it to us. So, all right. Right. It's also because we're running it to the wrong side. So, like if we were running it to this side right here, what's nice about this is because Josh Allen is right-handed, he's going to take longer to hand the ball off. So it's more time for you to actually make a read here. So you can kind of throw your slot fade. Another thing that I like that kind of slept on, but it's really good for cover zero, is curling this guy, stem him down one time. So it's not like a full-on hitch, but it's a quicker curl. And you see, boom, and it just beats man. See how that beats man easily? So anyway, this is just one of those plays I really like, especially if you're getting a lot of zone coverage. This is one of those plays that is really, really, really good if they're running zone. Like really, really good if they're running zone, because they basically have to cover too hard flat you. Obviously, you can hand the ball off. Let me show you the hard flat here. The hard flat will defend pretty well, but in general, right, you're going to need to, work it more against cover three, cover four, but it's really good against those two coverages. And a lot of people are going to run those two coverages on that left hand side of the field. Now, the next play that I wanted to go over in kind of another bread and butter type of play from this offense is going to be this play here, smash return. This play has been good for so long, and it is still a very valuable play in this game. And what you want to do with it is you want to drag the tight end, streak the ISO receiver like this, and then if you want to put the running back on a swing route, you could do that. You could also in route the running back and have kind of an underneath mesh. But the swing route's really good, and essentially it's just very simple play. But what's nice is that this return route is better than the hot route master return route. It's better than the hot route and return route, and so you're going to have a lot more success with that route. So what I would recommend here is this route is going to be a lot better if they're in any kind of man coverage. You'll see that here. Let me just set up the defense. And if we get man-to-man, you see how he does a better job of cooking. The in route will normally do a good job as well. And it's just a good all-around play to be able to attack, that man-to-man coverage. One of the things that I did talk to you guys about a second ago here was this idea of this being a really good way to attack kind of cover three. And the reason being is because of these safeties being down so far in the box. So what can happen is this in route can actually pull this middle third to the middle of the field, and it can actually freeze them. Here you actually played it fine, so we'll just check it down to the in route. But just something obviously to be aware of. This return route is just really, really good. Another route combo that I really like, we're talking about like cover four hard flat, cover three hard flat. When they start hard flatting a lot, this is a way that I like to run this play. What I'll do is I will run a swing route like this and a slant. The reason I like the slant is the swing pulls that flat down super far, and then now your slant gets wide open over the middle of the field. The other reason is because the meta way that most people are going to want to play man-to-man is they're going to shade inside, route commit everybody to the inside, and they're going to have two hard flats. So that is good, but when you have a swing route, it pulls the hard flat and basically makes the hard flat useless. And so that hard flat gets pulled down, and then you can throw this tight end slant, and normally you can beat man coverage for really, really consistent big plays over the middle of the field. Smash return, while it is a simple play, you see it time and time again in big games do just so many things because it's just such a good high-low read over the middle of the field. The next play we're going to be going over is the play drive Y corner. This play has a really cool speed in route to the running back. And the reason I felt the need to show this play is because, again, man coverage is definitely popular. And so you want to have some ways in which you can attack it. So this is one of my favorites. So what makes this really good is the speed in route to the running back. I mean, kind of do whatever else you want on the play. Okay. What I like to do here typically is going to be some level of like a tight end wheel. And then on a tight end wheel like this, what that does is it's going to pull the flat defenders out significantly. And then with R1 here, you can really do whatever you want to do with him. If you want to do a post route on the backside, if you don't want to do a post route on the backside, you could do a stemmed up curl route. You could do all kinds of things here. Like if we just did this, like this would be fine. But what you're going to see is that this running back speed in is going to do a really good job of beating man coverage underneath of the defense. Now, again, a lot of ways to run this play. The big thing here is I will say if they use the two hard flat method where they're putting this guy on a hard flat and this guy here, it's not necessarily like it's not great, but if they do like a curl flat or something like this, which is very popular as well, then this will be a lot better. And you'll see that the tight end wheel will pull this guy out of the way. And then basically, you can just throw this. Okay, we're running into each other. We should not be doing that. You can basically just throw the speed in. What you don't want to do is what just happened. So you do not want your in route to run into people. So a simple way around that is to drag the tight end, streak this guy, and just flat this guy, honestly. And then on the left side, you can really do whatever you want. You can do a curl or whatever. But what's really good is you see when this in route has isolation, he's just free. It's just a free, very, very good read against man that they're going to have a hard time of defending. So please, please, please Don't sleep on this running back in route. It's very good against man coverage. And if you're playing somebody and they're running a lot of man coverage, I think this is something you should have. The other thing I was going to say about this play is, you like I said, you really just trying to isolate the running back a little bit here. You could put this tight end on a corner, and then if you wanted to, you could actually just motion yourself across if you wanted to do something like this and run like a slot fade, and then you could have like a curl, motion over curl, which all those are really good this year. But I just wanted to highlight like how good this running back route is against man. Like it's super effective. And then you put some other combos around it, right? It'll be pretty decent for you. If they run zone, the other thing about this is if they run zone, why I like the tight end wheel is because, if they run zone, we could even do a combo like this. Like this makes a lot of sense, something like this. If they run zone, you see how the in route gets underneath, that tight end wheel pulls the flat out, and that running back just gets into a really good spot of the field. Another thing that you could do is you have that tight end wheel, you drag this receiver, you post this receiver, and then you have a streak on the backside like this. Like this is totally a good like double post type of combination that's going to do a really good job at getting separation. Another really favorite combo out of this would be like a stemmed up curl. So again, I love this stemmed up curl. Maybe put like a post like this, and then on the left side you could really do whatever. If you wanted to do a slot fade, if you wanted to do a corner route, if you're trying to beat man coverage, you could do something like this, stem up that post, however you want to do it. But this is really a clean little play where you're looking for that running back underneath. And then the other thing that I was going to say is if they run like a shade down out of like cover 3, cover 4, or whatever, if those yellow zones are at 5 or whatever, right? What's really nice about this is you have a stemmed up curl. So because you have the stemmed up curl, this running back will pull the yellow zone down, and then you're going to be able to just throw this curl right there, possession catch it right in front of the defender. And you see how this becomes a really, really valuable play, something that you should be calling, something that you should have in your arsenal. Another play that I wanted to quickly highlight in this is going to be the mesh spot. If we take a look here, where's the mesh spot right here? You have this wheel route to the tight end, and that's really the thing I wanted to highlight. So if you use a stem down corner and a wheel route and like a streak like this, you can do whatever you want on the left side, right? If you want to do the return route and the swing, that's perfectly fine. What I want you to see is that this tight end wheel is going to basically serve as a pull route for that outside quarter, and allows you to throw that deep corner to the sideline. Again, just one of those other ways, alternate ways in which we can attack the sideline. Going to obviously do a really good job against cover 2 as well, because the stem down corner off a hot route is going to do a really good job of being able to attack. As you see here, there's that cover 2, and you see that tight end wheel is just kind of a unique pull route that you have in this playbook that's going to do a really good job at getting separation for you. The next play that we need to go over that you really can't not go over if you're talking about bunch X nasty is this play motion HB choice. This play right here is really good specifically for zone. It's more of a zone play. It's not really a man play. But what it's really good at is these roll coverages. So if they're playing this kind of like roll coverage, right, which a lot of people like to play, then this is going to be a really kind of cool play for you. So what you're going to be able to do here is you're just going to stem the slot receiver all the way down so it looks like that. You're going to streak this isolation receiver, and then really you can kind of do whatever with the rest of the players. I like to post the tight end, stem him all the way down like this. And then if you want to run like a backside drag, you could run a backside drag like so, and then have something like this. So it looks a little wonky. Another thing that you could do also is you could curl, do a stemmed up curl with that outside receiver. But what basically was going to happen is you're going to see that these seams, Circle did a really bad job running his route, and Josh Allen did a really bad job of throwing the ball to the receiver. But what it does here, let me see if we can actually give you a better example, is if they're running this roll coverage where this guy's in a deep half or third, this guy's in a third or a quarter. It doesn't, if he's in an inside quarter, this kills it, right? The inside quarter is never going to defend it. The third will defend it a little bit. And then just for sake of illustration, I'm gonna bring this guy over, put him in a hook and spy this guy. But because obviously most time people are gonna be sitting forward. But what basically happens here is as long as the tight end doesn't get, chipped, you're gonna see that the circle receiver gets open right there in that little spot. Okay. So the circle receiver gets open in that little spot right there. And then the other thing that can happen is if they're playing just like a traditional cover three, your tight end can pull the third and it leaves this really unique spot for this receiver over here. So what you're going to see is you're going to wait on this a little bit and you see how he's just going to cross through and he's going to be able to pop cover three over the top for a touchdown. This is also really good in the situation where they might be running that cover four on one side, cover two on the other side. So if they're running the cover six type of concept here, you're going to see it's going to look like this. And you have those quarters. And so those quarters are going to do a good job. But again, they're going to leave these little voids open because they're not even getting into the middle of the field. So what you're going to see here is this is just going to basically be a free touchdown if they're cover sixing you like that. As you can see, he just kind of pops through those seams, and it's just a really good route. If they're ever giving up the seam, this is a play that you want to have. It's not really that good of a play against man coverage. Okay. It's not that great of a play against man coverage. The best thing you can do, honestly, if you're playing man here is honestly leave the corner route. If you leave the corner route here, still stem down the tight end. I know it looks a little weird, but if you leave the corner route has a good chance of being able to get outside separation. Of course, I say that, I throw a pick. That's because I forgot the route commit inside. Again, most of the time when people are playing man coverage in Madden 26, they are going to route commit inside because the best man meeting routes are inside routes. And so because of that, you're going to see here, obviously your tight end will be open as well, and like a running back in route or something as a check down. But you see there, the corner out gets a lot more open. Of course, we almost throw a pick again, and the tight end was wide open as well. So you got to actually look at it. Obviously, you got to make a read here, but if the tight end's open, the tight end's open. If the receiver's open, he's open. It's one of those things where, man coverage is just inconsistent. And so, you could even do something like this. I mean, you could even do like a little zig route there. But you see that tight end trying to get open. Like I said, this is not a 100% play against man coverage. However, the other thing I was going to say is like this. Let's say you're playing man coverage or you want to give yourself something. Use a curl route, stem them up twice. It's a super deep curl route. But what's good about it is it will still pull the zones like we were talking about. So you'll see here, though, if you wait on this, throw it right on the cut, boom, and you make a nice man-beating play out of that. So that is another super valuable play, I think, out of the bunch X nasty in this game that you want to be able to take advantage of. Another couple plays that I wanted to just highlight a little bit is this motion spot under has kind of that unique running back slide route. You have halfback base, inside zone, counter, all really good run plays. Another thing here is this Z spot goal line, Z mesh goal line. I just wanted to show you these corner routes. So again, these are super unique corner routes, and we'll just show you how they run. They kind of have that little quickness to them. But overall, this formation is extremely effective. And then I had to show you a really cool red zone combination out of this formation. I do think that this formation pretty much has answers for everything, and it has answers for the red zone as well. So if you're ever playing in the red zone, a lot of times you're going to get these cover two base coverages, and typically you're going to get like two purples on the outside like this. And so this combo is really good for that. All you're going to do here is you're going to just simply do a zig route to the left side. You're going to do a tight end return route, and then you're going to use a stemmed up in route over the middle, just like this. And so what's going to happen is this cheap motion route is going to pull the zones, and you can throw this even on hook curls. That was the good hook curls from a cover two, and with hard flats, and you see and shading and all of that. And this little zig is going to do a really good job of basically getting separation. And then if you wanted to run like a slant over the top of it, like Be My Guest, but you'll see here again, boom, wide open in that soft spot. They're going to have to jump over there with their user. They're going to have to do a lot to try to defend that. And then that's where on the back side of this, you can run a little return route, a tight end crosser, or something like that. And what's going to happen here is now your tight end crosser and your little return route are going to do a really good job of creating a great check down opportunity for you as well. So these are just really, really valuable plays, in my opinion, out of the Bunch X Nasty. I think that the Bunch X Nasty is one of the best formations in the entire game. I hope that you've enjoyed the breakdown here. And if you want to check out any of my full offensive, defensive ebooks, they're all available in our school community. And that school community is going to be linked in the description down below.